When we start talking about confronting the issues facing the church, you need to understand that the younger generation is basically being raised in an atmosphere where there is an 11th commandment. And the 11th commandment is, thou shalt be nice. And we don't believe the other 10. Thou shalt be nice. And what that looks like is this. What that looks like is you raise an issue, whether you be in public or you be in social media or whatever. You raise an issue and you take a biblical stand on the issue. And you say unapologetically what God says on the issue. There will be some person, and that person will confront you because they are more offended by you raising the issue than they are by the thing that offends God. All of these things can flaunt themselves before the Holy One. And the only thing that gets you so upset that you have to fire off a confrontational email is if someone has the audacity to say what God says about the sin. That's our big problem. Don't even like the idea, for example, of apologetics because it just seems to be not nice. Interestingly, one of the arguments against this process of apologetics is that it's not loving. But notice what he says in the next verse. Beloved, although I was very eager to write you about our common salvation, I found it necessary to write you appealing to you to contend for the faith that was once for all delivered to the saints. Now, here's what's interesting about this. He uses a word here that's borrowed from the field of wrestling. Agonizing. You can't even say that word without making a face, right? Just agonize greatly. I'm writing to you appealing that you agonize greatly. And he's borrowing this term from perhaps the earliest martial art, wrestling. Hand-to-hand, man-to-man combat. So what he's talking about here in engaging on these issues, the word that he uses, the closest thing that he can bring to mind for what we're engaged in is man-to-man, hand-to-hand combat. Then you recognize that your horizontal relationship, if it is to be a loving one, it must first and foremost be submitted to the vertical relationship between the Father, the Son, the Spirit, and his elect. Therefore, there are things that I could do horizontally that absolutely offend you and are absolutely loving.